Hi guys, so I thought I'd post this video a little later because it's not really an assignment, it's just something fun. So I said I would read to you from Hank the Cowdog today, Murder in the Middle Pasture. So we finished chapter 1 already, and that was the one about how Drover thought he saw what? What did we think? Well, what did he think he saw? Wild hogs, right? And the end was about how cold Drover was, and they talked a little to Pete the barn cat, and that was it. So if you look on the cover, we know it's winter time. So that's why Drover's saying he's so cold. Chapter 2 is called How Was I Supposed to Know She Didn't Want Me to Go? All right, ready? Solving a major case in an hour was nothing out of the ordinary for me. I mean, when you get into your higher echelon of cow dogs, brains and breeding and dashing good looks are just standard equipment. Your common unpapered ranch mutt might have one of those qualities, but not all three at once. Where I solved the wild hog case in an hour's time, your ordinary mutt would have spent a day and a half on it. Your subordinary mutt, such as Drover, might take a month and a half to crack the case. Well, I had cracked the case, and it felt that a warm glow of satisfaction that comes when a dog knows he's done a good job. Yet the investigation had taken its toll, and I was ready to throw up a long line of Z's. That means sleep. I kicked Drover out of my bed, fluffed it up, and in the process of turning around and around in a tight circle to look for a perfect spot to land, when I heard the sound of a motor. I froze. My ears shot up. A snarl came to my lips. I looked left, and then I looked right, and then I saw it. A pickup was pulling into the gravel drive behind the house, and the gravel was popping under the weight of the tires. The intruder parked beside Sally Mae's car, which may have been a significant clue. On the other hand, it may have meant nothing. The guy doesn't know until, well, you get the idea. Get up, Drover. That pickup hasn't been cleared. But Hank, do we have to run in the snow? I gave him a withering glare. Unless you can fly, son, you're going to have to run in the snow. So come on. With the look of agony stamped on his face, Drover ventured off 1 foot into the snow. I streaked past him and headed up the hill to check the tires on that unidentified pickup. It turned out to be Slim's rig, so there was no real emergency. But just to be on the safe side, I re-stamped his right front tire. There's no sense in taking chances. Hi, Lopper and Sally Mae came out the back door. Lopper had 2 suitcases in each hand and a playpen in his underarm. Sally Mae carried the baby and several packages wrapped in colorful paper and tied with ribbons. I sat down beside the gate and hung around to see what was going on. Drover made it up the hill by that time. He stood shivering in the snow with his feet together. Lopper appeared to be in a foul mood, and Slim started joshing on him. Well, gosh, Lopper, I'm sure I was going someplace for Christmas. Y'all shouldn't have got enough stuff. You forgot the dinner table in the commode. Sally Mae gave him the little evil eye. Slim, this isn't the time for your brand of humor. When you get married and have kids, you'll understand about traveling. Yes, ma'am. When Sally Mae wasn't looking, Lopper shook his head at Slim and his mouth formed the words, "No, you won't." Slim shoved his hands into his jean pocket and grinned at Lopper. Reckon that stuff will fit in the car. Do you want me to hook it up to the stock trailer? Lopper muttered under his breath something about your Sunday britches. I studied Slim's jeans. They look normal to me, kind of worn and dirty, but sure wouldn't describe them as church clothes. But cowboys are a strange breed. They don't always think like the rest of the world. I was waiting beside the gate when Sally made my tail and gave her a big cowdog smile. She looked down at me with her narrow eyes and said, "Get away, you nasty thing." What? How? Hey, I didn't jump up on her. I didn't face, I didn't lick her on the leg. I didn't do anything but smile at her. All right, maybe she was a little sore at me from jumping up on the dinner table and eating those T-bone steaks, or for running into the utility room after I'd been sprayed by a skunk, but heck, that had been months ago. I was perfectly willing to start over with a clean slate and try to make something of the friendship, but Sally Mae had always been bad about carrying a grudge. Over the littlest things, too. So she walked past me with her nose in the air, and you know what she did? On her way to the car, she saw Mr. Pitiful, Mr. Half-Stepper, Mr. Sleep Till Noon, meaning Drover, of course. And instead of saying, "Get out of my way, you nasty thing," she bent down and rubbed his neck. "Oh, the poor puppy's cold." She straightened up. "Oh, Slim, why don't you let Drover sleep in the utility room while we're gone? The poor little thing doesn't have a warm coat like—" She looked over at me. "Like Hank McNasty." I wagged my tail. "Hank can stay out with the skunks and the sore, but Drover needs a warm bed." Let me intrude here to make one small point. Drover had very little promise as a cowdog, but even if he had papers and instincts in the rest of the program, that kind of model coddling would have ruined him. The worst thing you can do to a ranch dog is spoil him. Let him stay inside in the winter, and you've ruined him. For the rest of his life, he'll expect a warm bed. Maybe I'm old-fashioned, but I still believe that a cowdog ought to be just a little tougher than your ordinary breeds, and you'll never catch me sleeping in a warm house, no matter how cold it gets outside. So there you are, a little insight into the price we pay for being a special, yet also a little insight into why Drover would never go far in this business. In addition to being dumb and chicken-hearted, he had a weakness for comfort. Sally Mae opened the back door of the car, and then she opened the front door too and put the baby in the baby seat. I watched from the gate. Why had she opened both doors? Why had she left the back door open? Was she trying to tell me something? Was it possible that— I studied on that. It finally dawned on me she was giving me the opportunity to take a trip with them. What else could it mean? Women are pretty subtle. They don't always come out and tell you what's on their minds. They often will say one thing and then turn around and do another. A guy has to stay alert and interpret the signs. Why, she'd want me to go with them on a trip. Maybe by the time she reached the car, she thought things over and decided she wanted extra protection for the baby. That made sense. I mean, it's common knowledge that in spite of our gruff exterior, sorry, when I turned the page, it wiggled. We cow dogs are very protective of children. Well, I can tell you that I had other things to do. I had about 2 weeks worth lined up and going off on that trip. Didn't really fit in my program, but a guy can't ignore Call of Duty. If Sally Mae wanted me to go, then by George, I'll go. So I hopped in the car and down into the back seat. Her eyes came up and stabbed me. Her nostrils flared. "Get your dirty paws out of my car! Scat! Shoo! Lopper, come get your dog out of the back seat!" Huh? Lopper appeared at the door. "Aw, dang it, Hank, get out of the car!" "Now, wait a minute. Come on, boy, out. Don't have enough trouble getting away on this trip without you. I whapped my tail on the seat and looked from one face to the other. I didn't know what to do. He's getting mud all over the seat. Hank, for crying out loud, get out. Lopper reached in, grabbed me by the scruff of my neck, and pitched me into the snow. He aimed a boot at my tail end, but I got away just in time. I don't know how you please these people. 1 minute they say they want you, and then, never mind. At last, they got the baby and the luggage loaded. Slim came out to say goodbye. Y'all have a good time now. Don't you worry about the ranch. Me and Hank will take care of everything. Lopper laughed and shook his head. Well, I didn't see anything funny about that. Keep an eye on those heifers. They'll start calving any day now. And try to keep the house halfway nice. We don't want to come home to a wreck. So here is Lopper throwing Hank out of the car. Can't see the screen. Can you see it? You just have a good Christmas and don't worry about a thing, said Slim. They shook hands and Lopper climbed into the car. As he was backing out of the driveway, "Oh, sorry." Lopper looked at me and shook his head. I wagged my tail and barked at the car all the way up the country road. The car tires rumbled over the cattle guard and they were gone. I trotted back down to the house. Big, soft flakes of snow were falling. I was ready to knock off and get some sleep, but on my way down to the gas tanks, I heard a terrible racket up at the machine shed. It sounded like a dog fight. One of the dogs involved was Drover, and unless my ears deceive me, he was coming out on the short end of the tussle. Oh no, Drover's in a fight without Hank. That's it for chapter 2, guys. The next chapter is called Outlaws on the Ranch. Ooh, I wonder what kind of bad guys are on the ranch. All right, so that's it for Hank the Cowdog. And you do not have school Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. But I will try to log on and maybe read you another few chapters of Hank over Easter break if you're interested. Bye. Have a wonderful Easter.